SteelTwins Nation, what is going on? We are live here on this Wednesday night for a final 2023 NFL Draft Steelers preview. It is officially NFL Draft Eve, like Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. You guys get the point. It's the day before one of the more exciting days for not only football fans in general, but the draft Eves. That is going to be a big, important day for a bunch of NFL players, or soon to be NFL players.
And of course, the NFL draftees, man. It really does feel like Christmas Eve. It is exciting. All the mocks, all the rumors, all the thoughts, all the theories, and the questions will all be answered. Pretty much every single mock that was ever created is going to be irrelevant by tomorrow by 8 o'clock. So I cannot wait, man.
Yeah, we are a mere 24 hours exactly from the 2023 NFL Draft.
Exactly. Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
And it got here quick.
It did.
I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Time is flying, and it got here quick. It's crazy. As you guys know, this is episode 9 of the Steeler Culture Podcast, presented by SteelTwins.com and a part of the Steel City Podcast Network. Normally joined by Cold Steel, Justin outside of SteelTwins.com. He is at home with some family obligations tonight, but he will join us tomorrow as we will be live for round 1, and the plan is to go live for round 2 as well. Round 2 and 3, day 2, night 2. So, and we're obviously going to have a lot of cool stuff coming that way, such as giveaways. Want to get this out the way before we get into the Steelers preview. There is still time, and there's less than 24 hours for you guys to get your entries in on the giveaways that we are doing for night 1 and night 2. Night 1, you guys can win a Najee Harris signed jersey and your choice of a 2023 Steelers draft hat, which could be the white one I'm wearing, the black one Rob's wearing, dad cap, snapbacks, your guys' choice. And, of course, on night 2, we will be announcing the winner of our 10K subscriber giveaway, which is this beautiful Hines Ward signed jersey right here. One lucky winner will be announced night 2 of who's going to win that. You guys still have time to put in your entries for night 1 and the night 2 giveaways. I'll put the links to them in the comments below or even just in the live chat so you guys can get your late entries in if you have not already. So all those that have entered, man, we appreciate it, and best of luck to all you guys. I'm going to put in the live chat right here real quick.
Yes, indeed. And Dictate asks, no trip to the Berg this year. At least not this time around. Normally, it's a tradition between me and Dan and Cold Steel and some of our family to go down to Pittsburgh for the draft, hang around the city, sightsee, all that kind of stuff, just to feel that Pittsburgh vibe for this time of year. This year, we're just doing it a little bit different. We're staying home. We're going to do it from home, but we do plan on getting out to the Berg sometime this upcoming summer, and maybe even for a couple NFL games. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Hopefully for that, but most likely for some summer activities like maybe the Friday Night Lights thing, because last year was a debacle.
Yeah.
Maybe some training camp stuff in Latrobe. Maybe, we'll figure something out because I ain't going to lie, around this time, we be in Pittsburgh right now. But we're not, and it kind of hurts that we're not. But, we'll definitely make it out there at some point this year for sure. That's a guarantee. At least once a year, I got to go to Pittsburgh. All I'm thinking about was going there. But who will be making their trip to Pittsburgh come Friday morning? Let's talk about it, man. We're going to get into the final Steelers 2023 NFL Draft preview. We're going to go through a lot of the rumors and theories and possibilities, as well as the trade-up possibility, which I'm starting to really think is very likely.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. It might have something to do with the fact that Omar Khan and company are doing something non-Steelers-like.
Yeah, and it's something that throughout this draft process, it's been rumored, it's been discussed, it's even been talked about between Tomlin and Colbert in some press conferences. So, it seems like something's going to happen. We just don't know where, how, or when.
Yeah, really.
That's what's really going to be an interesting part, but we'll definitely talk about that, as well as the many prospects of the Steelers' needs. You guys already know them. The worst-case scenario players, that could be sleeper options, as well as some under-the-radar players that the Steelers have brought in for visits and could be looking to select depending on how the draft board goes.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing a lot of possibilities. I want to cover almost everything in terms of not only the possibility of us trading, but our options at 17, because there could be something the Steelers just swoop under your feet and, you didn't expect it. So I'm trying to cover every corner we can, not only just the first round, but just in general, the entire NFL draft.
Yeah, leading up to this weekend, really.
Yeah, but we might as well get into the trade talks, because that's the biggest talking point. That's the biggest rumor. That's something we could all be excited about, is will the Steelers make any trades during the NFL draft. Now, this could be a trade up scenario, a trade down scenario, a trade back into scenario. Maybe they trade a certain player for a certain pick. I'm not ruling anything out, and neither is Omar Khan. He made that known immediately during his scouting combine interview. We're not ruling anything out. We've already went through so many scenarios in our head and continue to do so. So we're not going to rule any possibility out, which excites me. Do the Steelers make a trade in the draft? Preferably, do they trade up in the draft? That's the biggest talking point, because there have been rumors, there have been draft analysts saying that there's a possibility the Steelers trade up with maybe the Falcons or the Bears, maybe the Eagles at 10. Maybe they trade up, but the question is for who? Well, if you were to ask me, it comes down to two positions.
And it's the most obvious ones. It's definitely cornerback, and most importantly, at least to me and Dan's eyes, is offensive tackle.
Right, and there's only less than a handful of players that are worthy of trading up if you're the Steelers for a position in need, like corner and offensive tackle. That is Paris Johnson. That is Christian Gonzalez. Maybe Devin Witherspoon, but there's not much interest from the Steelers there, so I'm not going to look far into that.
Yeah. And more than likely, I mean, he's arguably a top 5 pick.
Right.
You know, and a random trade, if not the Steelers, a random trade could happen out of the blue, and Witherspoon could go a lot earlier than anticipated. Who knows?
I mean, you know, I think it'd be a little worthy to trade up for Broderick Jones as well if you really want to solidify and lock down that franchise left tackle, which is what we really need. A lot of us have been preaching it for a while now.
Yeah.
And the fact that we do have a decent chance of grabbing one of the top tackles in this draft class, preferably a Paris Johnson or a Broderick Jones, the fact they might have to trade up, in my opinion, is a little bit worth it. What they trade exactly, the details will be determined.
Yeah.
But I trust Khan and company if they do want to trade up to make a very solid offer.
Of course.
That will benefit the team.
And that's obviously going to depend on, you know, how far up they're going to want to trade up.
Yeah.
And, of course, you know, who's taken off the board, situations like that. And because of them trading away Claypool with the Bears to get the 32nd pick, I mean, it's a big reason why, you know, it's being discussed that they could trade up. They have that flexibility, although the 32nd is a very enticing pick for the Steelers to potentially keep or trade away for more draft capital, depending who falls out the first round.
We might as well get into that 32nd pick because, yeah, the Steelers could trade up, but the most likely possibility when it comes to the Steelers trading any draft capital, at least in our opinion, is that 32nd pick, only because it's an extra pick they have thanks to Claypool and the Bears, but also it is the first pick of day 2. You know there's going to be a lot of talent that's going to drop out of the first round for some reason or another.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of talent that many teams are just craving to grab immediately. Who that is, what position that is, time will tell. But you know the Steelers are going to get a lot of calls. They have already. They've admitted they've gotten calls. Yeah. Come draft day, their phones are going to be busy. So they could absolutely trade that 32nd pick and gain extra picks.
And it's something that, quite honestly, the Steelers could absolutely use, especially toward the middle round, because after the 4th round, we're very bare with the 5th, the 6th, and even early 7th, because we're at the very bottom part of the 7th round after the 4th round pick we got.
So that gap from 120 to 241 is massive. It's 121 picks. So the Steelers could absolutely trade back and gain extra mid-round picks as well as...
Well, not even just a mid-round pick, maybe even an extra day 2
That's
pick.
what I was getting to, because they could get an extra day 2 pick while also not dropping back too far. So they could trade back from pick 32, maybe from, I don't know, pick 38, pick 40, something like that, and still gain an extra pick in the process. There's a couple teams that can afford to make a trade like that. We've entertained the Seahawks, the Rams. Who else has that capital? The Eagles, I think. Now, I guess you could say the Packers or the Jets. Definitely the Packers.
Yeah.
Definitely the Packers. So, I mean, there is a great possibility that 32nd pick is traded away unless they trade that pick to trade up in the first round. And we've entertained that in a mock, but they could just trade away pick 49 if they wanted to trade up along with their first round pick and then potentially trade back from 32 to gain extra picks back because they traded up.
They could absolutely do that.
They could pull a double trade. I don't know.
Yeah, that 32nd pick, you know, they could trade it away if they really want a guy that they're really eyeing and that they really want to be a part of this future. And it's like they could keep it. And some tells me that they're going to want to keep it.
Yeah.
But if if a prospect is so enticing that they want, but a team is not willing to trade that pick unless 32 is there, Steelers may have to give it up. Despite how precious that pick really is.
It's really going to come down to who's on the board, who the Steelers prioritize, and what the offers they get for that 32nd pick, which could be a lot. It could even get them capital for 2024, honestly. So the Steelers and Mike Tomlin and the Steelers front office have not really dealt with the first pick of any day in a long time. No. I don't think ever, especially not under Tomlin, at least. Not under Tomlin.
No.
So, yeah, they're very excited about it because that could go anywhere. That could go to a guy that falls out that's like, holy crap, we can't pass up on 32. You got a first-round talent that dropped out, take him.
Yeah.
Oh, no one's there, no one that we can get or no one we want to reach on, trade away, get extra picks. It is a lottery pick. It's a luxury pick. They hold a lot of power with that pick. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly what's going to go down that day. It could happen tomorrow. We could open day 2, night 2 with a trade. I have no clue. I have no idea. Time will tell. But the Steelers can definitely do a lot of stuff with the amount of picks they have, the amount of early picks they have, where they do want to trade up or trade back or trade that 32nd pick and then trade back, to gain extra capital. There's many scenarios they can run with the amount of capital they have.
It's not really just a draft picks at the same time. It's also a possibility they could trade a player during the draft to gain some capital.
And the one guy we keep throwing his name out there for is Kevin Dotson, only because he's no longer a starter on this team, and he should get an opportunity elsewhere because he has no fit on our squad no more, outside of depth. But if he is depth, he might be in every game inactive at that point.
Yeah.
And someone with that starting experience, I think, has some decent mid-round value. Some teams are going to want to throw a 5th or 6th-round flyer for someone in the last year of his rookie contract, a guardy-needed team.
Yeah.
So
at this current moment right now, Kevin Dotson is the most expendable player on the Steelers roster. There's really no need for him. Sure, he could stay and compete and fight for a depth piece, but like you said, more times than not, he just may be in every game inactive. The Kendrick Green rule.
Right.
And quite honestly, that's just a waste of a roster spot if you ask me. It was last year with Kendrick Green staying on this team.
Still is.
I mean, there's no role for either of them. But Dotson's, more capable of gaining trade value.
Yes, he is. But I want to quickly, before we get off this topic, I want to quickly get back into who the Steelers could trade up for. We mentioned Paris Johnson, maybe Broderick Jones, Christian Gonzalez. People also mentioned Joey Porter. I don't know if he's exactly worthy of trading up. I mean, if it's a couple picks, then maybe. But when I think of the Steelers trading up, I'm thinking they trade from 17 to into the top 10. Unless somehow, some way, a guy like Paris Johnson or Broderick Jones falls out the top 10, then that's really going to entice the idea of, okay, we should trade up now.
Yeah.
Because we won't have to give up as much to get into the top 10.
Exactly.
But let's say they do trade into the top 10. What would they trade? It would obviously be the 17th. They could trade the 32nd, but I know the Steelers are going to want to remain that because of how much power they have. So trade the 49th. That could allow them to trade back with the 32nd to gain extra capital later, if that's the case.
Yeah.
They could trade some picks next year. Maybe they like to trade a lot of mid-round picks, which is why we don't have a 5th or 6th this year. So they could throw that in there. Maybe they back-end the trade. They could potentially back-end the trade very much if they don't want to give up much of their early capital,
right,
which the Steelers haven't had in a long time. And they have a lot of holes to fix on this team with that early capital. 4 picks in the top 80.
Yeah.
4 picks in the top 80. Normally they'd have maybe 2. So the Steelers, man, they are in very good position to make a lot of moves come draft day, whether that is trading up or grabbing somebody. It all depends on who's on the board and what offers they get and what's so enticing.
Yeah.
And how the draft board looks, which obviously, as you guys know, is set up by Andy Weidel, who has a great track record and also loves to make trades. He's done that with the Eagles.
Yeah. Plenty of times.
Now, as we know, the picks are obviously going to come down to the 3-headed dog and Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, and Art Rooney the second. So
yeah, of course,
it's going to come down to them. Weidel won't make the picks, but seeing his track record and how the Eagles are, I trust his scouting and him to set that draft board.
Yeah, and to really eye special talent out there.
Right. But in my opinion, man, let's get into some of the needs that the Steelers could potentially draft. Not only day 1, but day 2, day 3. We already touched on it. Offensive tackle and corner are the biggest needs on this team, in our opinion. We need to solidify a franchise left tackle and a true number one corner. And with the picks we have, we can do it. And how stacked specifically corner is, they can definitely do it, which is why I've been pressing offensive tackle to be the 17th pick or the first round pick so much.
Yeah.
Because unlike corner, offensive tackle isn't that stacked. In fact, there's a significant drop-off after the first 3 offensive tackles.
Exactly, and when it comes to the left tackle or any tackle position, really, you need some reliability in there, especially with them trying to truly revamp this offensive line and give Kenny Pickett some true protection and Najee Harris some great run blockers at that.
And if they're going to run the football, you better build that O-line.
Exactly, and if they wait till later, I mean, there's not really anybody that's really reliable or capable or a guy that can, in my opinion, as of right now, that can really push Dan Moore to his core.
Or start day one. When I think of an offensive tackle and who we're going to draft, I'm looking for a day one guy. That's what I'm not looking for a potential project or someone to sit under and then start.
No, that's cornerback and that's linebacker.
Yeah, because you have guys that can capably start, keyword capably, start, and you could develop guys at corner and at inside linebacker and even defensive line if you really wanted to. Offensive tackle, man, listen, it's nothing against Dan Moore. He's just not starter material anymore. He's a good swing guy. He's going to make a very good swing guy. But that is his role moving forward in the black and gold, in our opinion. And the Steelers haven't made it a secret, unknown, that they want to improve offensive tackle and O-line. They tried to get Orlando Brown in free agency. Not as aggressive. They don't throw a lot of guaranteed money, as we all know with the Steelers front office. But they attempted to gain one of the top tackles in free agency. And after that, they only signed Depp and Raven Clark. And they brought in some of the top tackles, and they've shown a lot of interest in some of the top tackles. And I'm talking Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson, Broderick Jones, Darnell Wright, DeJuan Jones, who was, according to rumors, falling out of favor with the Steelers, and specifically Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, just a month ago, DeJuan Jones was a guy that Tomlin was really eyeing and looking really close at.
Yeah.
With the recent Senior Bowl.
Yes,
he was. Because Tomlin, he loves his big offensive tackles. He loves his big linemen. I mean, Villanueva. Just for example, Tomlin adored his size. He liked the potential there. That's why he signed him after the Eagles cut him when he was a defensive end.
And not just Tomlin. Andy Waddle loves his big guys.
That's true too. But apparently, his lack of participation or really motivation or mentality, or just care in general, I guess you could say, apparently is throwing Tomlin away from DeJuan Jones.
Because it appears that DeJuan Jones put all his effort in the Senior Bowl and in the NFL Combine, but not much in his pro day. And Tomlin, according to reports, this is not what Tomlin said. This is just what draft analysts are saying. Apparently, Tomlin was very upset and pissed that DeJuan Jones didn't run drills at the Buckeyes pro day.
So take that as you will. It's interesting. It really is.
Well, there were some reports that the Steelers could take DeJuan Jones at 17. I always thought that was blasphemous. Why would you do that? At 32, that's a little bit more enticing, but it all really depends how true those rumors are. A guy of DeJuan's size and athleticism is definitely enticing for the Steelers, and it's hard for me to believe that someone like him, and knowing Mike Tomlin for how long now, it's hard to see him kind of just rip him out of his draft board, erase him off the draft board.
Yeah,
I could be wrong on that. I could be absolutely wrong, but someone of his stature is what the build the Steelers are looking for and everything. And he would be a dominant right tackle. Now, yeah, there are concerns with his penalties for sure, but starting opposite of Paris Johnson, man, that Buckeyes tackle duo was crazy. Mm-hmm. And honestly, man, if they want to draft a tackle out of the Buckeyes, DeJuan Jones initially was the most realistic because Paris Johnson probably won't be there at 17. Now I'm starting to think, man, I don't know.
Yeah, with those reports, maybe neither could be a Pittsburgh Steeler, no matter how enticing both of them are.
But that also goes to show you, man, that tackle later on, like DeJuan Jones, like Anton Harrison, like a Matt Bergeron, they're not as up there with
the top guys.
Pretty much.
The first round, the true first rounders.
I want to consider them day one ready. Maybe Anton Harrison, maybe DeJuan Jones, but I won't consider them like a Darnell Wright or a Broderick Jones or a Paris Johnson or Peter Skoronski, where they can start day one. Now, Skoronski is more so a guard at the next level due to his short arm length. That's going to do him wonders. I honestly see Skoronski being the first offensive lineman off the board.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now, he has that upside to be a nice tackle, but, I mean, him at guard just seems much more enticing, intriguing.
But that position versatility is something the Steelers adore.
They do. And he's a guy that the Steelers could also be looking to potentially trade up, depending on how they have him on their draft board.
Right. But obviously, if they want to get a left tackle and they are focused on getting a left tackle specifically, Paris Johnson, Broderick Jones are the top two guys. And I cannot be upset with any of them. In fact, I'll be over the moon if we draft either one of those guys. Those are personally our favorites.
Yeah.
Our wishes, our pipe dreams is those two guys specifically. Now, there are concerns that they don't have a lot of experience at the left tackle position. Paris Johnson was initially a right guard before switching to left last year, allowed 0 sacks, but, you know, that inexperience at left tackle could still be a concern, although he proved to be one of the top tackles at his position and arguably the top tackle in this draft class under 1 year. Same thing with Broderick Jones. Now, he's more so of a tackle more than Paris Johnson is, only because he has a little more experience at that position. They're both incredible. Yeah. They're both going to be franchise guys. They're going to be guys that you can trust for 10 to 15 years, every down starters. They are guys I believe are worth trading up if they do want to get a left tackle.
Now, more so for me, I don't know about you, but for me, more so I feel like Paris Johnson's more capable of trading up for. Broderick, not really, unless it's maybe just a couple picks away.
If it's a couple picks, like if you're talking maybe at like, I don't know, 13, 14.
Then yeah, you know, I mean, if you really want to get the guy, if you want to make sure that, you know, he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, I mean, all right, go ahead. But if you're like really trading up into the top 10 to make sure you get the top tackle, in my opinion, Paris Johnson, I mean, that's the only guy that I'd be willing to trade up for as far as tackles.
Let me throw this at you, okay? Let me throw this at you because a little quick history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4 years ago, the Steelers traded up for Devin Bush. Didn't turn out well.
No, it didn't.
Didn't that turn out
No,
well?
it didn't. But, I mean, none of us could really predicted that.
But what I'm comparing is Devin White went 5th overall. Then the Steelers really pressured themselves to trade up for Devin Bush. They had to.
Yeah.
They really wanted to fix linebacker. They really had to.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, it was really a rough trade, and it didn't pan out whatsoever, man. One of the biggest busts, one of the biggest disappointments in recent history. But when it comes to offensive tackle, maybe that could be very similar. Maybe they are hell-bent on improving offensive tackle. Maybe Paris Johnson goes too early. Maybe Peter Skoronski goes early, and then you're left with only Broderick Jones. You're like, is this another Devin Bush situation where we got to trade up to get him? Could that happen?
That could happen.
Or if they're fine with Chucks, if they're fine with Chucks Okorafor moving to left, they could fall on a guy like Darnell Wright at 17, who is the most experienced tackle this draft class. Over 40 starts, 4 years of tackle experience, 2,700 snaps of both left and right.
Yes. Now, he has experience at left tackle. He played that 2 years ago.
But it's not advised that he play that the next level.
Last year showed when he fully moved back to right tackle, he's a pure right tackle.
He is the best right tackle of this draft class. And he's only 21 as of now. He's going to be 22 by the season start. But that much experience at the tackle position, at that much youth, with continued progression, is enticing.
But I think even that, because he's really risen his draft stock throughout the past couple of weeks, could that also allow him potentially be taken before pick 17?
I think it could. You want to know why? Because the Jets need a right tackle. I would not be shocked whatsoever if Darnell Wright goes top 15, just due to his experience and due to his stock really rising. We were talking at him like, oh, let's get him at pick 49. He might not even be there at 17. I don't know.
Like, we really don't know. And again, that's, you know, where we bring up the trade up option. Like, if they really want to secure the tackle position for the future, they may have to do it. You know, just to make sure, to solidify that, hey, we finally got a tackle.
Or maybe they fall on a guy day 2. Maybe a guy like DeJuan Jones, if they still like him, if reports are false, if rumors are false, they could fall on corner in the first round, which is it's starting to look likely, man. Only because the way I look at it, tackle, man, it might not be there.
Yeah.
Some of the guys may not be there.
And if the Steelers don't do a trade up, then if all the tackles are gone, then they're going to have to settle for defense, and that could be corner more than likely.
It ought to be corner. It really could. Now, it could be another position like D-line. We'll get into that later. But I think it ought to be corner. And it's stacked enough that I think a certain top guy is going to be there. Now, the biggest the biggest name for that for the Steelers, who they've shown tremendous interest in. They brought him in for a top 30 visit. Christian Gonzalez. He's arguably the top corner of this draft. He might be the first one off the board. There's a way he could drop, and the Steelers could trade up for him, or maybe he falls into laps at 17. Unlikely, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
If not, they could obviously fall on a lot of people's favorites. Joey Porter Jr. at 17, if he's there. I think he will be there.
PG Jr., man. I mean, he just fits what the Steelers adore with bloodline heritage. He's the son of a Steeler great that helped him win the Super Bowl. He's an outstanding prospect. He's got the size, he's got the stickiness, the press coverage ability, the speed as well. He's got a lot of intriguing instincts and techniques at the cornerback position.
He's got a lot of good traits to be a true lockdown corner in the NFL.
But so does Deonte Banks out of Maryland. He's a guy that apparently, according to some rumors, that the Steelers absolutely love Deonte Banks.
And obviously it's because he's from Maryland. And not just because of that, because he is a very good talent. The resume for the Steelers drafting out of Maryland recently, under Tomlin specifically, has not succeeded whatsoever. But Banks, man, will be one of the best to come out of that school in recent years, without a doubt.
Yeah.
He is that good. He's sticky. He's got the ideal size. He can intercept the ball when he has to. He's not entirely a ball hawk. He's more of a lockdown guy, but he's just an intense physical corner. That speaks Steeler to me. At 17, I don't know. Personally, I don't know. Maybe I'm blind in thinking he could make it to 32. Maybe not. Maybe that does force the Steelers to take him earlier at 17. Maybe they trade back from 17 and take him later. I don't know.
Now, I don't really see... I see Deonte Banks as a first-round talent. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see him as a top 20 selection.
Right.
That's just me, though. I could be wrong on that. He could absolutely prove me wrong when the NFL season comes. But if he's there at 17, could it be a true possibility that the Steelers take him? According to some rumors, I absolutely see it.
But if we're talking cornerback for the Steelers in the first round, those are the only 4 guys that are first-round worthy. Otherwise, corner's so stacked, you could wait day 2 to snag someone and still be a potential cornerback 1 grow-up for the Steelers, alongside Peterson and Wallace.
Yeah. And there's like, I mean, again...
It's a boatload of names, bro. We're talking like the Jericho 100,000 whatever moves he had. List.
Yeah,
It's
guys like Cam Smith, Emmanuel Forbes, Tyreek Stevenson, Julius Brents, DJ Turner, Keely Ringo, Clark Phillips, Darius Rush. Like, the list is pretty much endless for day 2.
Yeah.
It is so stacked. You can get a dime with one of these guys. Guys that are full of size, speed, physicality, coverage ability, talent, intrigueness. Like, you could really get a very good corner out of one of these guys.
And the Steelers are showing a lot of interest in a bunch of these guys, man. They are really doing their due diligence at the cornerback position. In case of any scenario, a guy like Emmanuel Forbes is someone they really like. I know he's skinny. My man is the cinnamon stick from Apple Jacks, but he's a great fucking cornerback. He if he were to grow, obviously, man, he's not only the lockdown potential, but he can intercept the football.
Yeah.
But Julius Brents, man, great size, great physicality. He brings something the Steelers haven't had at cornerback in a while. Keely Ringo, overrated.
He's very raw. He's very raw. I'll say this about Keely Ringo. He's got good size, great speed. He had some showings in Georgia the past 2 years, but
he's not a man cover guy.
And the fact that he only stayed 2 years at Georgia, granted he was a big part in them winning back-to-back national championships.
And the Steelers have looked at a lot of Georgia Bulldogs.
Ringo, though, he's a very talented corner, but a very raw corner.
Yeah.
I feel like a switch to safety could actually benefit his career in the long run.
Yeah, but where would he fit in our scheme?
I don't know, but the Steelers, they've looked at him a lot.
They have. I mean, he could work in the slot potentially as that free safety role, as that versatile piece, maybe. But that's kind of what Minka and Casey are for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Clark Phillips is someone we really like, someone the Steelers really like. He's a secret good fit for the Steelers.
He's like Mike Hilton.
He's Mike Hilton and Cam Sutton put together. He has that position versatility to play outside and in the slot, which speaks Cam Sutton.
And quite frankly, I think you stated in the mock draft that we put him in a couple mock drafts ago, that versatility. At cornerback, we don't have that.
It's lost because we lost Sutton, but we haven't filled in slot since we lost Hilton. The guy has the versatility that we lost due to Sutton and brings every trait that Hilton had, but maybe better.
Yeah.
Clark Phillips would be a phenomenal pick day 2. And he has everything the Steelers are looking for. His size might limit him mainly to a slot position, but I also see him more as maybe like an Asante Samuel Jr. type fix. You know, he's undersized, but he's a starting outside corner for him.
Yeah.
He's just more versatile. He's going to be a baller in this league for some team. For the Steelers, man, it's just a secretly good fit. It's just a matter if they wait for corner in the second round. But if they do, they can absolutely strike with anybody at 32, at 49. Now, corner seems to be one of those positions where they're going to drop like flies early in the second round, so that might pressure the Steelers to take corner early at 17, maybe at 32 if someone drops.
Yeah,
but
one
thing's for sure, man. Tackle and corner are the two biggest needs, and I think they are going to go early with those positions. I think they have to.
Yeah. I would feel confident in saying that tackle and corner are going to be the first two picks. Just where and what order, we're going to have to wait till tomorrow.
But I don't want to underestimate the need and the talent at inside linebacker as well.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's no linebacker that's going to go day one. There might be someone that sneaks in maybe late in the first round, but there's so much talent the Steelers could get day two at linebacker to fill in alongside Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts and be what we need at linebacker. We haven't fixed since that man right there. This is a good class to do it.
Great book, by the way. Great book.
Yeah, seriously. This is a great class to do it. The talent is endless. Jack Campbell, Drew Sanders, Trenton Simpson, who the Steelers really like, Dan Henley, Dorian Williams, DeMarvin Overshown.
Yeah.
I mean, the talent is great. Ivan Pace from Cincinnati, undersized, but Steelers haven't shied away from that in recent years with Bush and, of course, Mark Robinson recently.
Mm-hmm.
But more enticing names, to me, is just Campbell, Simpson, Henley, and Williams. I like Drew Sanders as well. His missed tackle rate is a little concerning, but he brings that versatility the Steelers like at inside and at edge. Could fill two positions with one guy, and he's an enticing prospect. But if you're looking for someone with specifically coverage upside, we have our run-stuffing guys. Holcomb, Roberts, they're going to fill that run defense great. Linebacker room's already better with those two guys because of that aspect. We have no coverage linebackers.
No.
Jack Campbell is a very good coverage linebacker. There's still some concerns athletically. He's not as speedy as a Trent Simpson or a Dan Henley or a Dorian Williams, but he is still very good. He's just football smart on that field. Very good. Very smart on the field, man. Obviously very good in the pass rush, great in the run support. The guy just hits the gap. Same thing can be said for Trenton Simpson. I don't know too much about his coverage upside because I didn't see much film on him in coverage. That might be concerning. That's something the Steelers are going to have to experiment. But right along that line of scrimmage, the guy is just a fierce athlete. Mm-hmm. And he is an athlete.
He's a guy that you can literally put anywhere at the linebacker position. You could put him at inside. You could put him out outside. He's going to get the job done or going to find a way to do it.
And he's the athlete we have lacked at linebacker. Outside of Bush, every single linebacker we've had since Shazier has been stiff.
Yeah.
It's like they're running in quicksand. Their hips are just like locked. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no athletic linebackers that we have. They could snag someone like a Simpson, who I would not be surprised if he's the pick at 49, for example.
No, I would not hate it at all. I think he has a lot of upside. Again, the coverage aspect of his play, I'm not really sure how that is. Again, I have to look at some tape.
But if you want probably the best coverage linebacker in the draft, Dan Henley is your guy. And he speaks what the Steelers are looking for because he used to be a wide receiver turned linebacker.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Mark Robinson, only he's a lot more far advanced at his position. He's one of the best coverage guys, and he brings the athleticism and the sideline speed and that aggression in the ground game.
Yes, he does.
I would love Henley. I love either of these guys, honestly, day two. I really would. And I think they would really fill linebacker in the future.
Yes.
Linebackers like corner, man. It's not as stacked, but there is someone you can grab day two to fill that hole.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm excited who's going to be on the board and who the Steelers snag. I just feel like linebacker is going to go day two. I feel like it has to. And with the guys that are potentially going to be there, Steelers going to find someone to snag.
Yeah. They're going to have to, especially for the long run, because although Holcomb's an intriguing player and Landon Roberts is a great run stuffer, again, we have no coverage linebackers.
No.
In today's league, you need a coverage linebacker. We have zero of that either of these guys definitely have the upside and the explosiveness to fill that role.
Now, because the Steelers have 3 day 2 picks, as of now, things could change. Let's say, for example, hypothetically, they go tackle or corner at 32. Let's go linebacker at 49, or vice versa, right? At 80, where do you go? Do you go D-line? Do you go safety? Do you go edge?
You could go either one. And honestly, I would not hate it one bit. Because quite honestly, defensive line to me, I mean, they brought in a couple guys. They brought in Fihoku. They brought in Watts. Guys like that. They still have Montravius Adams, but they don't really have a true starter, a dependable starter in the middle of the defensive line.
Yeah.
Now, they did re-sign Larry Ogunjobi to a 3-year deal. They could potentially move him around, put him at that defensive tackle position. We still don't really know where DeMarvin Leal is really going to be put on that defensive line. He still has that flexibility at the same time, that upside for sure. But, I mean, if you really think about it right now, we don't really have a true defensive tackle.
We don't have a nose tackle. We don't have that Casey Hampton gap filler where you're not going anywhere, motherfucker. We don't have that.
Yeah.
They could give the opportunity to an Armon Watts or Brandon Fihoku. They could do that, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do. But, they have really looked at some of the top defensive linemen for day 2. Now, this is them doing their due diligence. This is them looking at every aspect. But the interest in defensive line is intriguing. First of all, another name I want to bring up for potentially the first round or even potentially at 32. This is more so like a worst-case scenario option.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, all these guys are gone. Where do we go now? A potential worst-case scenario option could be a Brian Breezy from Clemson.
And this is a man that does have some upside. If you look at his tape, it's nothing out of the blue or mind-blowing or explosive.
Production-wise, it's not. But via the tape...
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Production-wise, you're not going to see anything crazy. But when you watch the tape, the guy just speaks explosiveness off the snap. He's just strong.
Now, there are a couple red flags that he does bring to the NFL level. He does have a couple of injury concerns. I believe he tore his ACL, what was it, like 2 years ago, last year, something like that. He never really fully recovered from it, and it really hurt his game in his last year at Clemson.
Not just that, but early last year in January, he had shoulder surgery. So he tore his ACL and had shoulder surgery in like a span of 4 or 5 months, which sucks. And it definitely showed on the field. It hurt his progression. And I feel like if it wasn't for that, you're talking a potential, definitely a first-round talent, maybe arguably top 10. He's that good. Again, the numbers don't blow off to you, but the tape does. He's explosive. He's strong. He's fierce. And filling defensive tackle, he could be a dark horse pick at 17 or 32.
He really could.
And to fill defensive tackle, to pair alongside Hayward and nickel packages, you could bring that aspect. And you bring an extra body to what is already a stacked defensive line core, just based on numbers and the names.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean for DeMarvin Leal? I don't know. I don't know what that would mean. Do they view him as just a depth piece because he was a third-round pick?
I don't know about that. Although they did position him. Now, he's a little too big for the position, but he did play at that position. He did play at the edge position here and there when he was healthy last year.
I noticed that. So could they put him at edge while still taking a defensive lineman to kind of fill that hole?
I don't know. That's an option. I do feel like for the edge piece or the edge position, I feel like he could slim down a little bit, but gain that bulkiness, keep that strength.
I disagree because there was coming out of Texas A&M last year, Leal's concern was, he's a little too skinny. He could bulk up a little bit, similar to a Cam Hayward when Cam Hayward came out of Ohio State.
Yeah, you have a point.
But potentially, maybe Leal just sticks with his frame, and maybe they do move him outside. Maybe they move him to edge. I don't know. But if that's the case, I don't know what Leal's role would be if we do snag a guy like Brian Breezy. Or they could wait day 2 and still snag someone they've shown a lot of interest in. Mozzie Smith. Same thing for Keanu Benton, who is just, he feels like Javon Hargrave 2.0. Who else is there? Siaki Ika. He was a heavy name early on into the draft process as the next big snack.
Yeah, many people in the chat are comparing him to Big Snack.
He is Big Snack 2.0.
He's got the size. He's got the run-stopping ability.
I even think his pass rush skills are mad underrated.
Very underrated.
Now, obviously, a guy like Ika, he's not an every down guy. He's not. He's going to come in for obvious rundowns. He's going to fill that gap with his big frame and his just intense strength. He would be a great gap filler. And who said it in the chat? Someone said we can get him at 80. I think that's a steal.
If he were to fall to 80 and we snag him there, I mean, I would love it. I see him as a second-round talent, maybe early third-rounder, but if he were to fall to 80, I mean, I would consider that a steal.
Yeah. Same thing for a Gravon Dexter.
Gravon Dexter is another guy that toward the third round that I consider a very heavy sleeper with this defensive line group. I think he's got the speed, he's got the strength, he's got the agility, the athleticness, the run-stopping ability. Dexter is a sleeper in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. I think he'll make a very nice third, maybe fourth round steal. He could even sneak up a little bit because of his athletic showing in the combine. Or maybe the Steelers, man. See, defensive tackle is the only fucking position I don't know where they're going.
Yeah, really.
It pisses me off. They could go early, which would be great. Or they could wait later. Maybe they gamble on the guys they signed in for agency. Maybe they gamble on Liao. I don't know. But if they do want to wait later, like round 4, round 7, whatever, right? Byron Young, Keandre Coburn, a Carl Brooks would be very solid.
Yeah.
I think Carl Brooks is a mid-round steal somewhere. His stats really blow off, and the film's even better.
Yeah.
The guy is intense. They played this guy at edge. At what, 6? What was he? 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", maybe bigger. 300. They put him at edge.
Yeah.
Now at the Senior Bowl, we saw a lot of reps interiorly, specifically at nose tackle, and disrupted the line of scrimmage.
The guy can bulldoze through an offensive line with ease. If you look at his tape.
So if they want to grab someone like him in the 4th, that would be very nice.
Yeah, Brooks is another heavy sleeper.
And to give Andy Wild credit, man, he has a resume for snagging some guys later at those positions and still filling it for years to come.
Yeah.
He's just good at finding those gems late. So I do want to point that out. But defensive line, I don't know when or where they're going to go. It's a wait. All this is a wait and see game, but especially with defensive line.
Yeah.
Because it is seriously like the last thing we need on the front 7. We have our run defending linebackers. We just need a nose tackle to disrupt the line of scrimmage and fill the gaps and help our linebackers. You know, a lot of the defending and the what's what I'm looking for? A lot of the criticism, I suppose, that linebackers were, I suppose, being defended with was the fact that the defensive line didn't do them no favors. And you know, they are right. The linebackers got no favors from the defensive line. They didn't. Now, the linebackers were soft last year. Bush and Jack were very soft last year. But,
to a point, they got benched for the last 3 games.
Yeah, but I do agree that defensive line didn't do them any favors.
No.
And that's been the same. That's been said for how many years now? Ever since Tua left. Ever since Hargrave left.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they attack defensive line, but I think we really need to just get that one last piece to that front 7 puzzle.
To really close the gap, to finalize and fix that run defense. Because the past 2 years, it's been shit.
It has been.
It's been really bad. They got to fix it, and it's something that they have made a huge priority, and even bringing in a Fihoku and a Watts. Their best trait is run defending.
Yeah.
So if you bring in one of these guys that we mentioned, they could surely fill that hole and help in the run game.
But speaking of filling the hole, you still need someone at safety alongside Minka to specifically stop the run as well to help build upon that. Now, they did bring in Keanu Neal, and schematically, he is the Evans replacement.
Yeah.
He's a typical box safety. He's gonna fit in the box. He's gonna stop the run, and that's what's gonna be his role. He's gonna fill Evans' role schematically. But you still don't have a surefire starter alongside Minka.
Now, we did re-sign DeMonte Casey to a 2-year extension, so I'm anticipating that he's going to be the starting strong safety for this upcoming season. But the thing about him is, although I like him, he's got that ball hawking ability. Wherever the ball is, he is. He showcased that last year, even when he came back from IR.
But it just appears to me Casey's going to be the same role he played last year as that dime guy, as that extra nickel dime package, piece.
Yeah.
And right now, in terms of what the Steelers look for in a strong safety, Neal is the starter. And he's going to fill that role pretty decently, I would think.
But if you think about it, they're only here for the next 2 years. Casey's turning 30 if he hasn't already, and Keanu Neal's getting up there with age at the same time. We need some. To me, we need some youth at that strong safety position.
We need some. We need someone to hold that position for the next couple of years instead of holding on to some of these rentals, because otherwise next year we're going to have to fill the same position.
Yeah.
Right? So
now, if they're looking for guys to potentially come in and take that starting role down the road, whether that's later this coming season or sometime after this season, there's There's some names out there. There's plenty of guys out there.
And another worst case scenario option, again, not meaning that in a bad way. I'm just saying everyone's gone. Where do we go? Brian Branch.
If he's there at 17.
I'm going to say this right now. If he's somehow there at 32, that is impossible to pass on.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that right now. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't.
But Brian Branch is a very enticing and intriguing player.
Dude, he
can play safety. He can play that slot role.
He would fit in this defense so well.
Yeah.
So well. And I think he would be better than Edmonds. Not to throw anything at Edmonds, but he would be an improvement.
And he said himself, it's a dream of his to play with Minkah Fitzpatrick. And he models his game after Minkah. So if you get two Minkas on this secondary, I mean, Jesus Christ.
But he would just fit that strong safety role just perfectly.
Yeah.
He has the versatility. He's one of the better run-stopping safeties in this draft.
The guy does not miss a tackle. The guy does not miss a tackle.
No, he's just intense. He's incredible. So I definitely don't want to rule that out. And that's been once Edmonds left, we were looking at it as of now, man, Branch might be the most realistic option because the value at tackle and corner aren't as big as safety, so they could go safety early. And that could still be true, but if they wanted to wait, they could still snag someone to fill the role great and still bring that versatility at the same time. Jordan Battle would be great. Another Bama guy.
Yeah.
Jamie Robinson would be great. I really like him. I'm higher on him than many others, but I think he would fit nicely. Very nicely.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony Johnson, versatile piece, right? He would in my opinion, he'd come in and fit more as that Trey Norwood type piece, more of that competition for Trey Norwood. I don't know if he would start as a strong safety because he's a former corner turned safety.
Yeah.
So he's still learning the position, but he brings that versatility Steelers like.
And a guy, you mentioned, a corner turned safety, a guy that fits that as well as Anthony Johnson out of Iowa State.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I think Terrell Austin had a private workout with him as he was our former secondary coach. And Johnson just brings a lot of starting experience. I think because he was a cornerback turned strong safety. He played 5 years with Iowa State, and I think he has 54 career starts at the college level.
The Steelers really that's attractive to the Steelers.
Yeah, the versatility, that starting experience. Now, Anthony Johnson, I find him more as a depth piece as of right now, but he could be that nice project that they could potentially groom for that strong safety position.
See, that's the other thing with safety is, as of now, it appears that Branch is the only day one starting safety in this draft class. Maybe Johnson, but that's about it. Branch is the only day one starting safety in this draft class.
Yeah. Now, if they're also looking to potentially bring in some depth, maybe some competition for Trey Norwood, maybe. They got guys like Jair Brown, Daniel Scott, who they met with, Brandon Hill out of Pitt, Ronnie Hickman out of Ohio State.
And they've shown interest in all these guys. Again, the Steelers doing their due diligence, but they're keeping all options on the table. But it's when they do stuff like that, it's evident what they're targeting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, safety is also one of those positions where I don't know where they go or if they go it. They could just rely on KZ and Neal for the season and worry about it later. Maybe they sign a free agent. I don't know.
Yeah, because, they could trade back again, going back to the trade back scenario. They could trade back, get some more draft picks, and they could fill the holes that they got to fill, the positions that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to fill every position for this upcoming draft.
It is. It really is. So could the Steelers trade back because of that? But at the same time, there's not exactly a rush to fill every position.
No, there's not.
Pickett's only in his second year.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is a make or break year for anybody.
No, it seems like this upcoming year is
outside of Matt Canada.
Yeah, that's
another topic.
That's my worriness for this offense, especially with the addition of Allen Robinson, who we traded for last week.
Yeah.
Great addition, by the way. Traded basically literally nothing, essentially.
All we traded was a 234th pick.
And we're paying $5 million while the Rams are paying the rest for this upcoming year.
Such a low risk, low cost for a veteran piece in the receiver room, which we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah. And something that we needed, something that Omar Khan was very vocal about in his press conference not too long ago, that him and Tomlin were looking to add a veteran guy because they know that a veteran piece for this wide receiver group is something that they need.
And that's the crazy part because a lot of us, a lot of Steel Nation were thinking, man, we just need a veteran piece in that receiver room and we're solid.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. We're like, oh, okay, so they're going to draft a guy, all right? Probably not a day 2 selection.
Which is very typical.
Typical Steelers. No, they said, you know what? Let's get Allen Robinson.
Something. Again, Omar Khan said, all options are on the table. I didn't think that they trade for a veteran guy, especially a guy like Allen Robinson.
But I love it, man. It's a great addition. Don't expect corner. Don't expect wide receiver 1 numbers from the guy. He's not a wide receiver 1 no more.
No.
May not even be a wide receiver 2. He will come in as the wide receiver 3/4, specifically 3. He's going to fit in that slot well with that outside versatility, which I don't know if you guys knew this, but we don't have no outside depth. If Pickens or Johnson gets hurt tomorrow, who's our outside guy? Without Robinson, it was nobody.
No.
So we needed that versatility at the same time, which makes the trade even greater. How much are we going to get out of Johnson or Robinson on the field? I don't know. But, he brings a lot more than just production on the field. He's going to bring that veteranship. He's going to bring leadership. He is that leader on that offense, specifically in the receiver room, that we really needed.
Yeah.
It is the move they needed to make, and for that, we like it. And it might actually take receiver off the board entirely, but at least it will take it off early.
Well, see, entirely, I don't think so. But early, I mean...
What are you saying?
I don't know. Maybe it's a Steelers thing, but they tend to go receiver day 2.
They do.
Now, I'm throwing it out there. Listen, I don't think it happens, but I'm throwing it out there because the Steelers tend to do it. And there's some names that they could truly draft and look at and potentially bring in. Guys like potentially Zay Flowers, if you were to fall out the first round. A guy like Josh Downs, who both are... They're very small. They're very small and scrawny,
but they're
players as receivers, but they're typical for the Steelers when it comes to that size, and they're dynamic players.
Yeah.
They showcase that at their respective colleges. They're going to be great receivers in this league.
They are. They really are. They're going to be one of the better guys, man.
Obviously, I got to say it to Jordan Addison if you were to fall out, but...
Well, you guys already knew, man. We deflected that rumor. We deflected that thought immediately on the draft season, man. The second draft season started, that was the first thing we said is, hey, the Steelers should not draft Jordan Addison. Not because he sucks, not because he's a bad player, because he's not. Because we have other needs, because we don't need Jordan Addison, all because he's familiar with Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett might want him. That doesn't mean we should draft him.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to happen.
And I say the same thing about Zay Flowers and Josh Downs. Although they're very enticing, they can be dynamic players for this offense, despite Canada being the offensive coordinator. We have more important needs to focus on, and the fact that we traded for Allen Robinson. We're paying $5 million this year, and apparently his salary cap next year actually declined like $5 million. So there's a possibility that he could stick around for his entire contract, remaining 2 years in his contract that he signed last year.
I think
plus Calvin Austin.
Yeah.
He's still got that upside. I'm not saying he's going to be like a Tyreek Hill type player, but the Steelers are going to want to see what they got out of their 4th-round pick last year.
And they also resigned Miles Boykin.
So when you look at it, receivers, I'm not throwing it out there that they won't draft a receiver. I think it's a possibility, but I wouldn't be in favor for it now right now. If they didn't trade for Robinson, I think I'd be a little bit more open to it, but I feel like it's not really necessary, at least not early.
No.
Later round, if they want to look for a depth piece or a return specialist, I don't care. It's a 7th-round selection.
Right.
And quite frankly, Gunnar Olszewski could use the competition.
But they could fill that with undrafted free agents.
They could do that as well. You're right.
So
they absolutely could.
I don't know where receiver lies, but I'm not anticipating it early. Nor should it happen. Nor should it have ever happened. I'm still seeing mocks of Jackson Smith and Jigba going to the Steelers at 17 or even at 32.
Well, one, I don't think he falls that far.
No. But as enticing as he is as a player, as great as he is, and he is great, and yes, his brother plays for the Pirates. Go Bucks. Go Buccos, right?
Number 1 in the division.
It's insane, right? What world are we living in?
I don't know.
The Steelers are doing crazy stuff, and the Buccos are winning. Like, imagine that. Imagine that. But no, he's a great talent. It's just that it doesn't make sense in terms of a need, and because of the Robinson trade. So
yeah.
I will say though, probably the most underrated position the Steelers could go early, and I've kind of grown on the idea of it. Edge.
Yes.
We have nobody behind Watt and Highsmith. We do not.
No.
And to add fuel to the fire here, listen, I think he's going to get an extension. He's going to be placed on the back burner because of draft reasons. I think by preseason he's going to get an extension. Does Highsmith? I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in case of the idea it doesn't, because there's always that possibility, this could be another Bud Dupree situation where we may not be able to get a contract with you. So we're going to draft your replacement. I doubt it happens. It's not going to go down like Bud Dupree. I don't think that, but there is that possibility.
Yeah.
They could go.
And I brought this up to you not too long ago. I brought this up to you as the possibility of him potentially not staying with the Steelers after this upcoming season.
And listen, I wasn't really a big fan of taking edge as early as you were talking because we do have other needs. I think, and I still think this way, I think that the 4 picks, 17, 32, 49, and 80, I think those selections need to be starters. Maybe not all day one starters, but by year 2, yes, they should all be starters.
Yeah, and I have to agree. I'm right in the same boat with you.
Because of the needs we have and, just how much capital we have because of that. I think the first 4 picks from 17 to 80, they all by at least year 2 need to be starters for this team. They need to fill the holes that we lack right now. But if they do take edge, let's say for example, 80. Let's say they go, I don't know, a
Nick Cornerback,
pretty much, right? Because since obviously his brother plays with the Steelers now, and the Steelers adore the bloodlines.
Yeah.
And he's a Wisconsin Badger. Watt would take him under his wing immediately. That could happen. I think him in the 4th round would be a phenomenal pick, but a lot of you guys are saying he might not be there. You might be right. You may be wrong. I don't know. Guys drop for some unknown reason. Guys are selected earlier for some other reason.
Yeah.
It's the NFL draft. This always happens.
Mm-hmm.
By tomorrow, we're going to be freaking out. Why the fuck was he taken before this guy?
Why the hell is this dude dropping? Like, are these teams insane?
Why did the Jets take Darnell Wright when Paris Johnson was on the board? Fingers crossed. But I'm just saying,
Oh, my God. You are really hoping right there.
I really am. But you know what? I've learned over the past couple years, right? Especially last year with the Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett talk, right? All that comparison. Look how it's going now.
Don't get attached.
Exactly. I've learned to not get attached with a player and keep my mind open.
This is why this year when it comes to these needy positions, tackle, corner, linebacker, D-line, safety, edge, whatever, I'm more open to where they could be selected because I have no idea where the Steelers are going to go.
Yeah.
I really don't. They have all these holes that they got to fill. Some of these holes, in me and Dan's opinion, tackle and cornerback are the most important. But if they were to go another position, I wouldn't necessarily hate it. I really wouldn't.
No. In fact, what I'm going to tell you guys now, and this is something I'm going to keep telling myself, is no matter what goes down tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, no matter what goes down, right? If you're just completely blown away by this pick, like, what are the Steelers doing and this and that, and I got to keep telling myself this as well, be patient. Let it play out. Let's see how it goes. We were all freaking out when we drafted Najee and specifically Pat Fryermuth. We're like, we need a center, we need a tackle, we need this and that. Then they drafted Kendrick Green and Dan Moore, and it didn't really turn out when we tried to be patient with it. But maybe this year's different. So whatever the Steelers do, man, if you don't like it, whatever, if they take a position you weren't thinking of, just let it play out.
Especially if they keep that 32nd pick.
Yes.
They could trade that for more cap. They could trade that to get back up into the first round.
Like for example,
they could trade that for a certain player. Who knows?
Well, like for example, right? We're going to bring up worst case scenario options for the Steelers, right? Let's say the Steelers, right? Because all the other guys are gone. All our favorites are gone. Maybe they lean on a Brian Breezy or even a Lucas Van Ness, right? Because they went to his pro day and there's a lot of ties with that. I doubt it, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe Brian Branch, Kalijah Cansey from Pitt. Very undersized, doesn't fit what the Steelers are looking for in a nose tackle, but that Pittsburgh connection could lead him. Maybe he's the Pitt Panther, Kenny Pickett teammate we were all forgetting about. I don't know. Maybe they go a certain other position we weren't thinking of. That 32nd pick, they could still select a need that we really could have taken in the first round, but maybe they were thinking otherwise.
Yeah. But again, let's not forget the 32nd pick is technically a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Just the Dolphins were freaking stupid.
Yeah.
And they had to forfeit their pick. So technically it's still a first-round pick. It's just labeled second this year. So you get my point.
Yeah.
You get my point. But, I mean, we got a lot of positions to focus on. We got a lot of positions to definitely fill. I don't know if they're going to be able to fill all of them. I don't think so. I think for this year it's impossible. But
let's have a little fun in chat. Feel free to definitely pitch in because I'm looking forward to your guys' response. Top 4 needs.
Top 4 needs.
And I'm not saying top 4 picks. Like what picks would you pick in order? But top 4 needs heading into the draft tomorrow for the Steelers. Go.
Oh, I gotta go. Jeez, you're putting me on the spot. All right. Well, number one, I mean, me and Danny have been vocal. It's offensive tackle. I feel like tackle, to me, when I look at the offense, this is something I also want to bring up. When I look at the offense, all you need, really, if you think about it, is a left tackle.
Yeah, you need a franchise left tackle. And I say franchise because I'm talking like someone that you could depend on for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Seriously. I'm looking for a what's the word? I'm looking for a hold down on that line. You know what I mean? I'm looking for a complete guy you want to have on that line for a long time.
You know who I really want a left tackle? I want a Trent Williams-like left tackle.
Yeah. Someone like a Trent Williams, someone like a Joe Thomas, like a Lane Johnson with the Eagles, right? You're talking someone that's been with the franchise for how long?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for average or just as good. If you are and you do your job, then fine. But I'm looking for someone that will be here for the long run.
Yeah. And if you get that...
Because that's going to do wonders for the line and for Pickett.
Yeah. And you do that, I mean, your whole offense can really grow for the next 4 years.
All right, second need.
Second need to me is obviously cornerback. I mean,
think we're going to have the same process. Okay.
I mean, that's pretty obvious. I mean, cornerback, Patrick Pearson's coming in, but you still need a guy for the future.
And Wallace is coming to the last year of his contract. He might not even be here.
No. And after that, a Keller Witherspoon, really? Are we going to give him...
Why is he not cut yet?
Why are we giving him... Well, he could be cut after the draft. Remember...
Oh, that's right.
What was his name? Remember J.J. Wilcox?
Yeah.
Remember he was with the team, and then we drafted Trey Noor? No. We drafted Marcus Allen. That's who it was. And then literally the next day, J.J. Wilcox was released.
Funny story, man. We were actually there on his last day as a Steelers employee where he was signing autographs before the Steelers said, goodbye.
You actually have it somewhere.
Yeah, it's
that terrible towel.
It's a little fucked up. We have so much stuff. Hope you guys noticed the new background, by the way. We got the Steelers stripes going on.
Yeah, the wallpaper. Yeah.
But this isn't even half of the shit we have, bro. This is just some of the stuff we really want to get on the wall.
Yeah. But, cornerback definitely for the future. My third one, I would have to say inside linebacker because we've, that position has been filled in.
You and I are on the same page, but the fourth one I'm looking forward to.
See, I go back and forth. I go with D-line because I feel like we got to clog up that hole and fill the gap for the run defense. But I also look at strong safety because, I feel like we need a guy for the long term with Minka to get younger at there because I don't really know how long KZ and Neal are really going to be here. I don't know if they're going to be here for the next 2 years. They could just be here for next year.
I'm really looking at... Now, you could put...
See, that's a tie for me with defensive tackle and safety. But if I had to really, really choose, I think I have to go D-tackle because that D-line overall, it needs to get younger.
But I agree, and this goes to show how many needs we have, right? How many needs we need to fill. And that they could fill the majority of them the next 3 days, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm even contemplating putting this to number 3, edge.
See, listen, I understand.
We already know this. When Watt was out last year, it was atrocious.
The defense was gone.
The defense was dead. We need someone at that edge position to still bring a level of like play when they come on the field.
Now, I do want to say this. There could be a possibility that they don't draft an edge, highly unlikely in my opinion.
So what are you saying?
It could be a DeMonte KZ-like scenario where after the draft they sign an edge guy, and there's still some capable edge guys out there that they could potentially to bring in and sign up.
I could see that. It really all depends how the draft goes down.
If you bring an edge piece in free agency in, you're probably only keeping them for 1 year. And this edge class, just like corner, is so stacked. It's full of talent. You can get a marquee, a great edge depth piece.
Yeah, because I'm looking
at a rotational piece in there for the long run to which you freaking need.
Because I'm looking at certain positions, right? Like positions that have hurt us, and obviously some certain positions that are been hurting us in the starting aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also looking at depth, and I'm really looking at edge, man. We haven't really had a great edge guy since, obviously, Highsmith's rookie year, in that, he got thrown in immediately because, maybe not immediately, but pretty quick into his rookie year because Bud Dupree went down, right?
And ever since Highsmith, became the starter after Dupree left, we brought edge guys in. They just didn't work out. Ingram, that fell apart. Melvin Ingram, that completely fell apart.
And then after that, who do we have? Jameer Jones, Cassius Marsh. Who else? So,
who's that one dude? Jannard Avery. We had that guy. We drafted Quincy Roche, but didn't let him go. He's back now, but even he's not guaranteed.
I mean, yeah, it's
Malik Reed.
Him. It's a rotating door. We need someone to fill that edge piece.
That's like the starting linebacker position. It's a rotation, and it's like that gets old real quick.
Well, your edge piece, your depth guy is going to get at least 30, maybe 35% max snaps. Maybe not as high. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating that. But they're going to see the field pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Because obviously Watt and Highsmith aren't going to play all game. So,
or should they? They're very valuable.
So you need someone to fill in that piece. And edge is deep this year. Steelers could grab somebody. They brought in some of the top names. It could be a position that is a dark horse position that they take earlier, honestly.
And you can't hate because there's the possibility that he could take over Highsmith if Highsmith doesn't leave, although I'm fully confident that he sticks around. Omar Khan gets a deal done.
Yeah.
Highsmith stays. Omar gets a deal done. But worst case scenario with that selection, I mean, you got a dependable depth piece behind Watton and Highsmith and a rotational piece on that defense.
Yeah.
That works. And you can't hate it. I mean, if you look at the edge class, a lot of these guys really may just have to start off as depth. They may just have to be depth in general. But that's not a bad thing because many teams do 3 outside linebacker rotations.
Yep.
It helps a lot. It's a big part of why their pass rush and their defense is successful.
Exactly.
I mean, look at the freaking Eagles last year. Look at the depth. Look at the rotation they did, man. Freaking out insane, outlandish.
Yeah. And the Steelers.
I want to bring that to Pitt, man. I want to bring that ferocious. I want Blitzburg back.
I think Waddle's going to do that.
I want Blitzburg back.
The more I think about it, the more we talk about it right now live, man, I wouldn't be so surprised, and I'm not really opposed to them taking edge early. Now, when I mean early, I would still rather them take it, if they're taking edge early, I'm thinking 80. Like, kind of like what everyone thought Highsmith was initially going to be. Oh, he's a depth piece. No, the writing was on the wall like the long time ago, and he was Dupree's replacement. But maybe that's not the case, and he is that edge piece behind Highsmith and Watt.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm going to bring that up. But when it comes to the top 4 positions, you guys are putting in your responses. Corner, O-line, edge, and D-line, says Kevin. Nick says cornerback, inside linebacker. Devin says tackle, corner, linebacker, D-line. So you guys are kind of in agreement there.
Yeah.
Jesse, what's up, Jesse? He says, imagine Steelers go crazy and select Jahmyr Gibbs at 32. Everything on the wall is coming off.
That's an under the radar type player. Maybe I don't know if the Steelers have really shown a lot of interest in running backs.
Listen. Nothing in relation to the Steelers, but for the NFL draft, I'm thinking Gibbs is better than Robinson. I'm just saying.
You think Gibbs is better than Robinson? I mean, that's your opinion. You're entitled to that. I think Robinson's the better overall running back, in my opinion. I think Gibbs is number 2.
Now, if the Steelers want to go run heavy, then yeah, that's how you do it. But you got Najee, you got Warren. Like, you got your guys.
That's really all you need. They don't really have a third running back, but I feel like that could wait till later rounds if they want to look at running back.
Yeah, but I don't see the Steelers.
Or another undrafted guy, maybe.
The Steelers want to really run the ball, right? They've been speaking that for years now. They really want to prioritize running the football. They want to go back to Steeler football.
Yeah.
Backyard ball, right? But I don't see the Steelers doing a 3 running back rotation. Najee and Warren are enough.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to run the ball.
Yeah.
Because you drafted a quarterback in the first round, and I would like to get a passing game going in what is now a passing league.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I don't trust Canada to do it properly or successfully, but that's another topic.
Yeah, we still have very minimal hope for Matt Canada.
Can you tell we really dislike
I'm
Matt
sorry,
Canada?
I just don't get why the hell they aren't Rooney, because ultimately he makes the final decision. I don't get why he couldn't just make the decision to move on.
I really want to get off this topic right now because...
But I'm just saying,
I'm excited for the draft. I don't want to ruin it with Matt Canada.
I'm just saying, it's just, what was his reasoning again? They don't want to ruin the chemistry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, 9 times out of 10, Canada's going to be leaving after next year, so I might as well get a head start.
Pretty much.
You're getting into Kenny's second year.
Because the way I see it...
Or he progressed so much in the second half of his freaking rookie season.
Because the way I see it, come 2024, that's more so of the year where you start really going, okay, Pickett, let's go. Like, this is the time where we really got to start, climbing up that stairway to 7, right? This year you could say maybe a little bit. They're going to be playoff contenders in my book, the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. They're always going to remain that way.
Yeah.
No matter how the team looks. We saw it last year, and Tomlin still found a way to get us within playoff contention, right?
Non-losing season.
Think of them how you will. Think of the team how you will. It's still decently impressive. But next year, 2024, is really when you're really going to start going with that. All right, let's go for number 7, right? But at that point, that's when you're switching coordinators.
Yeah.
So at that point, when you really need to strike, you're hurting. You are living your fear when we need to strike the most.
You're being conservative.
Now, personally, I don't think losing Canada this year or any year is really going to hurt this. I think it's going to improve us, really, as long as the Steelers stop with in-house promotions. But if he is really that scared and that worried that we're going to ruin the chemistry of Canada and Pickett, then if you do that next year, you're really living your fear in the year where we really got to jump.
Yeah.
So that just doesn't live up with what the hell he's saying.
No, it doesn't make any sense, really. I don't get why you couldn't, dude. Canada as our OC last year, the past 2 years were just awful, but last year, he essentially got what many people said, maybe you give him a younger running back, a more mobile running back. You upgrade the line a little bit, maybe Canada can do something. Only to look at the rankings compared to Ben's last year to Pickett's rookie year, our offensive rankings with a more mobile and younger and fresher arm at quarterback were actually worse.
And even the red zone efficiency was worse. But that's the excuse people will give Matt Canada. Oh, in 2021 and whatever, he had an aging quarterback and a poor offensive line. Now this year, he had a rookie quarterback. But didn't you just say that he would have a better year with a younger quarterback?
So
what is it?
So what's going to be the excuse this upcoming year? Pickett's taking the next leap or planning to take the next big step in his career. You got Najee and Warren as the dynamic duo at running back. Deontay's looking to have a big bounce back year, and no, he's not being traded.
No. And listen, we're going to get into that, but I want to close out the Canada segment right here quick because I didn't want to get on it, but since we're already on it, we might as well close it quick. Let's say week 4 or 5, if we see zero change with this offense, I want to hear no excuses, and I want to hear no hope about how the offense might improve later on. You might be a little bit right, but you can kind of already tell how quick into the season the Steelers operate and how the season's going to go. So if we see little change with the offense within the first 4 or 5 weeks, max the first 2 months, all hope is lost for Matt Canada. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not to get off. I'm sorry.
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I'm seeing...
Everyone keeps saying, we're going to trade him. Oh, we should trade him and draft Addison. We should trade him and draft Smith and Jigba. We should trade... What?
Since we brought in Allen Robinson, trade for Allen Robinson,
no.
Is it a possibility that we could trade away Deontay Johnson and draft his replacement? No.
No.
Listen.
If it wasn't for his poor contract and when I say that, it's not poor when you look at the wide receiver rankings, but when you look at how much it would affect us for us to trade him, that's what I mean by poor. We would take, 15, maybe more million in dead cap if we were to trade him?
Yeah. Or get rid of him in general.
Why would the Steelers do that? Especially when they are trying to surround Pickett with targets. Why would they get rid of the number one guy? Or quote-unquote number one guy?
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
He's one of the more targeted wide receivers in the entire NFL.
Listen. Your frustrations with Deontay Johnson are the same as our frustrations. We are in that same boat.
Yeah, listen, you're not alone. We are right there with you. His inconsistent hands, his inconsistent playmaking ability, the fact that he runs backwards and 9 times out of 10.
It's just the reoccurring year after year headaches that we were saying in year 2 keep reoccurring. I get it, but because of the contract, because of how much we're paying him, because of how much we would get in dead cap, and because of the fact they don't want to take targets away from Pickett, it's not going to happen. Maybe next year, I'm definitely open to that lesser dead cap hit. You know, I always trust us as an organization to draft receiver. I do. The history speaks for itself.
Everybody and anybody at wide receiver is replaceable.
Listen, man. Listen. My boy, Hines Ward, was replaced by Antonio Brown, a 6th rounder. Antonio Brown was replaced by a 3rd rounder. I'm just saying, okay? Yeah. I agree with all your points there, but it's not happening. I keep seeing tweets and comments and all this stuff about that happening. It's not happening. It doesn't make sense. Why would we trade Deontay Johnson if we're going to suffer $16 million in dead cap? Why? Doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't see Deontay being a draft day trade. I'm seeing a lot of these other names around the league. DeAndre Hopkins, Budda Baker, Devin White, maybe Austin Eckler, maybe, just maybe, Derrick Henry. You know, those guys are worth draft day trades, but not Deontay Johnson. It doesn't make sense with the Steelers' current position and what they did last offseason.
No, it does not. It does not. They're not going to extend him just to trade him
And
away.
honestly, how much value would they get? Let's be real.
I don't know.
I don't really think it'd be anything mind-blowing.
No.
Or out of this world.
Maybe a mid day 2 pick, if that.
But again, that's where they could go with the 32nd. If any trades or any offers are enticing, they could gain that just with the 32nd being traded back.
Right.
They could just do that. They keep a guy. They gain more picks. Bada bing, bada boom.
I would be very shocked if that's the case.
I'd be very shocked if they trade away Johnson, but I don't think it happens.
Maybe in 2024, I'm definitely more.
I don't know how many times we have to say it.
It's just we've been saying it since the start of the offseason, and people keep bringing it up. I'm like, dude, it's not happening. It makes no sense. Anyway, let's get into the comments, man.
Yes.
Glenn Thomas equals Canada's replacement. We talked about that on episode 7 of the Steeler Culture Podcast with our co-host, Cold Steel. We really discussed that, and I hope in a year's time we don't look back at that episode and think, motherfucker,
we predicted it.
We spoke it into existence.
Yeah.
That better not happen, especially since he doesn't have a lot of NFL experience. The last time Glenn Thomas was coaching in the NFL was 2015.
Yeah.
And he's coming as an offensive assistant. If they're bringing him in to be Canada's replacement, it's just lazy.
And if I'm correct, I don't think he has much or any coordinator history or experience at the NFL level. He did it at the college level, but that was the problem. That's the problem. That's what Canada had, and it ain't working.
I would like to see what he'll bring as an offensive assistant. God knows Canada needs it.
No. Him as an offensive assistant is exactly what his role should be.
It's what the offense needed. We
didn't have that last year at all.
What we'll bring to the offense, we'll see come the season. But as an in-house promotion next year, when Canada inevitably leaves, that's just absolutely lazy.
But you bring up that in-house promotion. Glenn Thomas is definitely a guy that, just seems predictable. It's a typical Steelers move to do for a coordinator position. A guy that I've brought up previously and I'm going to bring up again is Mike Sullivan, our quarterback's coach.
Yeah.
He's a guy
You've been saying that for a while now.
He's a guy that has previous experience as an offensive coordinator when he was the Bucs coordinator back in the Josh Freeman days. Let me just say that. And I think if I'm not mistaken, the Giants offensive coordinator toward Eli Manning's later years. But in both instances, he was fired.
Yeah. So either options are not good. An in-house promotion in any form or fashion is not good, bro. Hasn't helped us ever since Haley and LeBeau left. Shout out to Terrell Austin for last year. He's looking good, but I mean, that's a rare likelihood. Offensively, forget about it.
No.
I'm talking about relying on history. I don't want to rely on that history. I'll rely on the history of us actually going out and grabbing someone from outside the organization. Remember Ken Whisenhunt, Bruce Arians, even Todd Haley. Did they all have their flaws? Sure. But, oh my God, did we produce?
Yeah, neither guy
I
was.
don't know why I just sound like Vince McMahon right there.
Neither guy was perfect, but I mean, come on. When you compare them to who we had the past 5 years, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, really.
It's a cakewalk.
Yeah, Joseph Spam in the chat. He's saying, how many times did he say this?
Who are we drafting, Twins? I don't know how many times he said it.
Take a shot every time he says it. You'd be out.
Listen, man, I don't know who they draft.
You know what? I think this is a good way to kind of close it, man, because we've been live for how long now? About like an hour 20.
Yeah. Something like that.
So I feel like it's a good way to... Because what else can we talk about?
We
talked
pretty much
about literally almost everything.
Yeah, the trade possibilities, the Steelers' positions and the prospects of those positions, the worst-case scenarios, the under-the-radar kind of players. I mean, there's not really much to talk about anymore, except, I guess our final predictions.
As well as that, but getting into it with the chat. We got to talk about the chat a little bit. Jesse says trade up for pick 9 to get Paris Johnson, then pick best cornerback at 32. I love that idea. I'll even throw this at you. Trade back from 32 to gain extra capital to make up for what you traded for Paris Johnson and still get a good corner because of how stacked it is.
See, again, if they trade up into the top 10, it's going to be really interesting on what they give up. If they keep that 32 pick, I think that's a freaking
I'm thinking 17, 49, maybe a third rounder next year, and potentially I don't know. Maybe that would do it.
No, that could do it because we did that with Bush. We traded a first, a second, and next year's third for Bush. So we could do something similar.
What would the Bears want, though? See, here's another thing. Do you trade with the Bears or in front of the Bears for Paris Johnson?
I think you have to do it in front of
because
the Bears.
Because the Bears need a tackle.
They desperately need left
Unless
tackle.
I'm not thinking straightly. What else do the Bears need? They have their receivers. They got their quarterback. They got their running backs. They have most of their line outside of the tackle position.
They don't really have edge.
They could go corner. I know Jalen Johnson's still there.
But outside of that, I can't think off the top of my head who else they got.
Unless I'm completely thinking.
Their safeties are fine. They got Brisker and Eddie Jackson. So, I mean, they could trade back and just gain more.
They could.
Really surround Fields with talent. Make sure that he is your freaking successor.
Yeah.
Considering the Bears are a quarterback graveyard.
Akello might be part of a trade deal. I'd do that. We trade a 5th for him, right? We can't get a 6 out of him. Even Kevin Dotson, right? We put him in like 3 straight mocks. Trade Kevin Dotson for a 5th round pick.
The Seahawks could be interested. The Bucks could be interested. The Falcons could be interested.
I mean, come on. He's got to have some trade value, right?
He's got to. And Akello, I wasn't even thinking about Akello. I mean,
why not, bro? Dude, James Pierre can do everything Akello can, but better. So why keep Akello?
Yeah, there's no point. Save yourself some money.
You know you're going to snag a corner early. Why keep him? So you're going to have Patrick Peterson, Levi Wallace, a cornerback, James Pierre. You got
Arthur Millette.
And then that's it. What's the point of keeping Witherspoon? I'd rather save, what, $3-4 million?
Yeah, something like that.
Why not?
They could do that.
That might actually help pay for a veteran.
Yeah.
That's almost paying Allen Robinson itself.
Yeah, essentially.
Just saying, man. Just saying. I'm just saying. Did you see Ben defended Dan Moore on his podcast? I did see that. It doesn't surprise me. Ben's always given Dan Moore some good, he said he thought it would be a good franchise tackle for the Steelers for years to come.
I mean, that's Ben's intake. That's the way he thinks.
He sees how Dan Moore works. We don't. We just see what's on the screen every Sunday. But what I saw wasn't good.
Yeah, but based off that, I mean, Dan Moore shouldn't be a starter no more.
But listen, Ben's not afraid of throwing guys under the bus. He's not. But he's always giving love to his offensive linemen. I don't care how bad his line was. He was always on the sideline. He was always preaching them after field goals and on the sideline saying, "Good job, boys, good job."
Yeah.
How many clips have we seen him on the sideline praising his boys? If there's one position Ben will not throw under the table or give any negative to, it's the offensive line group. He can't give any more love to that group, no matter who is starting right in front of him.
Yeah. And you bring that up, man, his relationship with Marquise Pouncey. Like, I don't want to bring up sad memories, but I remember Pouncey sitting on that bench after that playoff game.
Was Pouncey on his podcast yet?
Maybe. I can't exactly remember. I can't remember. But those two are real close.
Speaking
that was Ben's center for 10, 12 years.
Yeah. Speaking of trades, man, because another interesting aspect of the Steelers pre-draft scouting process and their pre-draft visits is the amount of guard/center pieces they brought in.
Yes, although despite Sayamalu and Herbig with the team, they've been looking at the more versatile guards there.
What does that tell you? Now, there were trade rumors of James Daniels. We always knew that was false. I don't know who reported that. It's just stupid. Why would you trade James Daniels?
He's your best lineman.
At 25 years old. It makes no sense. But I threw it out. Maybe Mason Cole. And maybe maybe they draft a center. Maybe a Steve Avila from TCU. John Michael Smith would be great. I think he's on the level of Creed, personally. He's going to be that good. John Michael Smith is going to be a damn good center in the NFL.
Yeah, I consider him the best center this upcoming draft, and I think he can be a long-term starter at the center position.
If centers were prioritized more and they were looked at greater, he'd be a first-round pick.
He probably would, just like Creed should have been.
Exactly.
Creed should have been a first-round pick.
Not many centers you see go in the first round anymore. But if they were prioritized better in today's league, you're talking first-rounder.
Yeah.
That's how good he is. They've
also even looked at Luke Weipler out of Ohio State.
They have, who they went to dinner with. They took all the Ohio State Buckeye linemen to dinner.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that has any backing to it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
But it is something we got to look at. That could be one of those positions where the Steelers throw a curveball like, oh, shit, you know?
Exactly. Wouldn't be the first time. And, you know, I consider Mason Cole starter worthy. I feel like last year he was one of them underrated signings, and when he was in there, you know, he did very well.
I remember at one point we said Mason Cole was our best offensive lineman. Now, that's not really speaking a lot, but yeah, he was very solid.
I think he did more than enough to remain the starting center, but if they want to look at long-term at the center position, John Michael Smith is a guy they could be looking for. Cole could be a guy that could be traded. It's not out the realm of possibility. All options are on the table. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going through Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin's head. We don't know what's going on in the draft room.
Yeah.
Anything can happen come tomorrow night.
Dude, we are probably a little more than 24 hours away from finding out who the next Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be. That is exciting. And I'm telling you, man, once we watch it on the screen and we see that logo there, you know, the blood's going to start getting, you know, crazy. And then we see that we're on the clock. It's going to get crazier. And then when it says the pick is in, and then a rush of just like, oh, shit, you know, like, we're like, it's going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait for it. And I don't know who it's going to be. But, you know what? To close out the Steelers preseason, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Steelers draft preview. Let's give our final predictions, okay? Our final predictions. Now, we'll probably do this come the draft when it's live. But we figured, you know, less than maybe a little more than 24 hours away from the actual pick being announced. Who is going to be the Steelers' first-round pick? It could be trade up, could be trade down, could be remaining at 17. Who do you guys think is going to be the Steelers' pick in the first round? You could be biased, you could be honest. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Who is going to be the Steelers' first-round pick in 2023? Who is going to be the next Pittsburgh Steeler come 10 o'clock tomorrow night? If I'm going to give my prediction, and I've thought about this for a while, man, but the guy doesn't leave my head, I really think it's going to come down to Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
I really do. And it's not because of his name. Maybe a little bit.
No, listen, man. But part of it is because of his name. Let's not play around here.
But very similar to the TJ Watt thing, man. It's not just because he's a Porter, or in Watt's case, it's not because he's JJ's brother. No one looks at TJ Watt as JJ's brother no more. No, none. You'll look at Joey Porter Jr. as Joey Porter's son, as PZ Jr. But he has potential to be his own fucking player.
Yeah.
He's going to be a great corner. I truly believe that. And he has lockdown potential.
And when it comes to the Steelers, again, they love the bloodline. They love the story. You know, they love the headlines, stuff like that. I mean, it'd just be a great draft moment. It'd be a great draft story. They did it with Watt. They did it with James Conner, you know. They did it with guys like that.
Connor Hayward last year.
Yes, Connor Hayward. You know, they like that stuff. And it's a possibility that PZ Jr. could be a Steeler. He grew up around the Steelers players, the locker room, the culture, the environment, the city, everything.
It's a phenomenal story, but it's just more than the story, man.
It is more than just the story.
I'm not making the prediction just based on the story and his name. I'm not. Because they are looking at corner. And
there's a reason. There's a reason why he's a first-round talent.
But also, Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan weren't there for NFL meetings or whatever the hell it was for that day. Andy Weidel, who barely went to any pro days, was at the Penn State Pro Day. Andy Weidel.
Yeah.
Who's making the draft board. That says a lot.
Andy Weidel, Terrell Austin, our DC. Man, he was really looking at the secondary
Grady
guys.
Brown was there. That says a lot. So it's not just because,
that's kind of writing on the wall right there.
So it's not just because, he's Joey's son. It's not because he's Joey's son. It's because he's going to be a damn good football player. And hey, he already wore the 55 jersey at the Super Bowl 40 celebration on the field, all right? Listen, that was the writing on the wall. We just didn't know it until almost 20 years later, so. It was meant to be. Am I going to say this 24 hours from now? Maybe.
Yeah, within 24 hours, our pick could be on the board.
I don't know. He might go the pick ahead to the Commanders. I don't know. But who's your prediction, man?
Mine?
Who is your final prediction?
See, it's kind of hard to disagree about Joey Porter, man. Junior.
Come on, throw a curveball at me. If there's
all right. The curveball?
If there's anyone else you could think of.
All right, a curveball. When it comes to left tackle, it's going to be really hard for them to hope and pray that one of the top guys falls to 17. I think that's possible, but very, very unlikely.
Right.
I think if they really want to, and they have shown that they are willing to make those moves, it's very known that they have had trade calls. They admitted it. They're working the phones every day. I think that they can trade up where I don't know.
Okay.
And they get Paris Johnson.
That is our pipe dream.
I think it happens.
And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what they would trade up, but if I see trade on that screen that says Pittsburgh Steelers and Paris Johnson's still on the board, and then Goodell announces that Paris Johnson's a Pittsburgh Steeler, I'm freaking the fuck out. I might do the gritty live on camera.
What?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, the hell you're not.
I am.
You're going to do the gritty.
Yep. If Paris Johnson is a Steeler, I'm doing the gritty.
Oh, you heard it here live, folks. Paris Johnson and Pittsburgh Steelers is going to do the goddamn gritty. Mm-hmm. And it's probably going to be funny as shit.
Probably is, but I'm going to do it. Why not?
God.
King Sabian says, Joey Porter Jr. and Paris Johnson, I'm sticking to it. They will get both guys in round one. If that's somehow the case, that is a home run already of a draft.
I don't know how far Porter were to fall. I really don't.
Hey, listen.
Even Johnson. I don't see either guy really dropping.
See, here's the only way that's actually possible from a logical aspect. Paris Johnson falls to 17, which isn't happening. And Joey Porter falls, and the Steelers trade up from 32 back into the first round.
I mean,
that's the only way, unless they trade up for Paris Johnson and somehow trade up again for Joey. But then you're trading everything.
Yeah,
that's almost a Ricky Williams deal right there.
Yeah, that's a
fun draft story, by the way.
That's a big cost.
Fun draft story.
Big cost.
Fun draft story.
I don't know if it happens, man. It would be a dream we get two juniors on the team.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Got to be realistic a little bit.
Got to be realistic. This isn't Madden, man. But that would be really freaking cool. That's the thing about the draft is you could just envision. You could think. You could just hypothetically just imagine this stuff happening.
Yeah.
All of it's going to be irrelevant by tomorrow. Every single mock is not going to ever come true.
Yeah, for all we know,
tomorrow,
for all we know, Will Levis will be the first overall pick.
That would be something. You want to know something? You want to know something? I think Anthony Richardson goes before Will Levis.
I can see it. I don't disagree. Actually, I think that could happen. Yeah.
I think a team like the Colts.
Oh, hell, Anthony Richardson could be the first overall pick. It makes sense.
That's not happening.
I mean, Jesus Christ, he's getting compared to Cam Newton, and the Panthers have number one.
That's not happening.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's not happening. Yes, there will be live chat tomorrow. There's already a stream up for tomorrow's stream where you guys can already hit the like button. But yes, we will be live tomorrow for the draft and plan on going live for night 2, potentially day 3 of the draft. Still unsure about that, but we're really thinking about it. But night 1, night 2, without a doubt, there will be a live chat. So we hope to see all of you guys there tomorrow. It's going to be a fun time. I'm having the IC on ice. It's going to be a fun fucking night. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. Swear jar, by the way. But It's going to be fun. I cannot wait. Daniel Jeremiah just gave us PJJ at 17 in his last mock. Really?
Yep.
Really? At 17?
Yeah.
Man, that would be a dream come true. Then we won't have to give up nothing. I just don't envision it. I don't envision it.
Unless there be some crazy-ass trades that happen.
That could happen.
Some teams could trade up to get a certain prospect. Some prospects could fall down. There could be some player trades that happen, right? A team could get a first rounder out of it. I don't know. I really don't know.
I have no clue either. Osiris Torrance at 17. I wouldn't dislike that.
I don't know about 17 though.
See, I feel like he's borderline first round talent. He's good.
No, he's first. Again,
he's the best guard this class.
I don't know about top 20.
But where would we put him at guard?
There would be no room. There's
no fit.
There would be no room at guard.
There's no fit, unless I don't know. I don't know. I really believe Branch will be there at 32. If that's the case, man, it's hard to pass on him. I don't care what position we haven't taken. That's impossible to pass on. Brian Branch at 32, that's phenomenal.
At that point, you can't pass up on him.
Trade 49 with Kendrick Green and Kevin for number 12. That's unlikely.
No.
Kendrick Green has zero trade value. He wouldn't even make it in the XFL. Not even USFL. He could go right next door to the Pittsburgh Maulers, right? Not even a starting lineman, bro. God. Just, I don't want to get off bad memories because, it's an exciting time, man. It's the NFL draft. We'll be live tomorrow and night 2, but first we got to get through night 1. And it's going to be an exciting, fun time. Hope to see you guys there. Otherwise, definitely get your final entries in for the draft giveaways we will be doing. Both of them close tomorrow afternoon, okay? You have less than 24 hours to get your late entries in. Night 1, the winner will be announced for the Najee Harris signed jersey, and the winner is choosing of a Steelers 2023 draft hat, which will be either the black or the white design dad cap, snapback, whatever you guys want to choose. So night 1, that will be announced. And night 2, the Hines Ward signed giveaway for the 10K subscriber giveaway we're doing. And thanks to all you guys for supporting us. So appreciate all you guys. That will be night 2. I'm going to put the links again in the live chat so you guys can get your late entries in if you have not already. And I will continue to post this throughout the night and early morning in the community tab and on Twitter at SteelTwins so you guys can still get your entries in if you have not already. So get your entries in there. And for all those that have entered and are entering, good luck and thank you. We cannot wait to give back and announce the winner tomorrow. So we're going to call it night. This is a great final preview of the Steelers 2023 NFL Draft. We covered almost every aspect from trade up to trade back to trade up and back or trade whatever to how many positions we need to focus on in the top guys. So we covered almost every little bit of base we could, man. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Don't get too wild because that's for tomorrow and that's for Friday. It's going to be fun. And I'll finish off with this. No matter what happens, no matter what goes down, no matter who we take, no matter what position we go, be patient. And I suppose trust the process. But it's Omar Khan in his first draft. Let's see how he does. Let's see what he brings. And let's find out who the next Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be. In 24 hours, we will figure out who the next Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be. And I can't wait. See you guys tomorrow night. Have a great one. See you guys in the next one.
And of course, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!